policies, but the idea that we need transformational change doesn't mean that everybody's like, yeah, I want free shit. It's not about that. It's about wanting to upend the system and do something better for the working people. So that's what I saw.
And Austin says in the chat, not just the country, but the world. And I actually agree with him, but let's see what happens.
Andrea, can you, you and Scotty take over for about 5 minutes? I got some.
No,
you found
that's fine. No, but I wanted to give some of the. Well, it's okay. I wanted to give because I have the map pulled up.
Yes.
The New York Times interactive map by polling place and by neighborhood is really fascinating. And to your point, to Ken's point about the homeowners in Brooklyn, that's
link in.
Did you put the link in the chat for those of us in Arizona?
Oh yeah.
I'll put it.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Pin it in the chat, whichever. When you look at whether you look at the neighborhood, or you look at just the boroughs overall, okay? So Brooklyn went 49 to 32, Mamdani. Queens went 46 to 39. I don't know who would have thought Bronx would have been Cuomo country, but it starts to make sense when you see the map. 53 to 34 Cuomo over Mamdani for the Bronx. Staten Island was 46 to 37 for Cuomo. Manhattan was 39 to 34. And the neighborhoods in Manhattan that went for Cuomo were fairly predictable. I know this very well because this is my domain. The neighborhoods that are the wealthiest went for Cuomo. It is not a shock. And, a lot of them, and Brad Lander was, pretty up there. But Upper East Side went 45 to 29 for Cuomo. Upper West Side is a lot closer because they're a little more liberal. They went 34 to 30 with Brad Lander at a close third. And then the only other one of note is really like Tribeca, for example, which, is probably the most expensive. Everywhere else, from Harlem to Washington Heights to, Greenwich Village, Chelsea, all of that is, was all, Mamdani. Not by a huge amount, but, it was a significant win. And I find it very interesting. Then when you look at the Brooklyn side, it's very funny. The more gentrified parts of Brooklyn, because I think Ken talked about Bushwick. Bushwick.
No, I said Bed-Stuy. Bed-Stuy that got gentrified.
Well, right.
Bed-Stuy. He won Bed-Stuy.
Right. No. I'm making. No. I'm making the point. Yes, Bed-Stuy got gentrified, but there's still a lot. It's still predominantly black neighborhood. But here's the thing. Bed-Stuy is a very, very politically active community. Very politically active. This could also contribute to why they went for Mamdani. When you look at Bushwick, it was 79 to 13% for Mamdani. That's probably the biggest gap in the city. On the flip side, for Cuomo, if you look at Borough Park, which is largely Hasidic Orthodox Jews, it went 80 to 11 for Cuomo, which I found very fascinating. But the less gentrified parts of Brooklyn, and yes, where there are more homeowners, but, it's also not as wealthy, ended up going for Cuomo. Cuomo won a lot of the less wealthy vote in a lot of these boroughs, and that's probably similar to why he won the Bronx, meaning Cuomo. And the only...
Well, no, it's different. Look, the neighborhoods he won really strongly in Brooklyn, which I lived in, which I grew up in,
yeah.
Which have changed dramatically, but I understand how they've changed. Nonetheless, they've changed demographically, but they're primarily people who own 1 and 2 family homes. And having run campaigns there, I've run many campaigns, okay? They vote on issues like property taxes, okay? They vote on taxation, okay? And so, it's that is a reason why Cuomo will win Canarsie, and he did win Canarsie, and he won East Flatbush, and then he'll lose areas like Bushwick, because Bushwick doesn't have as many homeowners. It's that simple.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to relate it to the Bronx, because the Bronx is also Cuomo.
Yeah, the Bronx surprised me. It's like, I just really...
Yeah,
The only thing I can say is look at the vote. Look at the vote. I mean, I don't know if you have enough breakdown to see Riverside and Co-op City.
I do.
Where there's still probably significant amounts of Jews who are not as liberal as the Jews that you're thinking about in Manhattan. You know, and even those Jews apparently, a lot of them voted for Cuomo if he did that well on the Upper East Side. So you know, I would think that may explain the Bronx more than some Italians on Arthur Avenue, but.
Right, I hear you. Co-op City obviously went for Cuomo. He also did campaign there because I remember seeing that. So yeah, I mean the map is very interesting, but essentially West and North Brooklyn is all Mamdani country all the way up to Western Queens. But then the complete eastern side is essentially Cuomo. So I just find it very fascinating, this map. And then
Cuomo's off from Queens. He grew up in Corona.
Oh yeah. No, I understand. And it's not surprising that the ones closer to Long Island, Little Neck, Douglaston, all of that.
That's money.
Much more.
That's money.
Much more. Yeah, exactly.
That's where Trump grew up, actually.
So
I have when you're finished, I have a different question, but keep going.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say that I think maybe this is we could open up a room later and get some New Yorkers in and do a reaction room for folks who want to dive deeper into New York. I think we've made the broader points about what change this portends possibly for the Democrats, and just check back with Scotty if there's any couple of points that you want to land on. Scotty, what do you think, and then move on to other topics for folks.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, the thing I find interesting is obviously we're in New York City and we're kind of bombarded by all of this, but to see the conversation that is happening nationally on this is really interesting. But I think what Republicans on the right are already doing, and what they're going to continue to do, is talk about the socialist label, talk about everything is free, and not talk about why I feel and why so many people voted for him is that they wanted a change. If this was basically, I hate to say it, like an anti-Hakeem Jeffries vote in some way. This is an anti-Chuck Schumer vote. Right, I was going down the list. This is anti all of those people vote because they want something new. And this should be studied by the Democratic Party to see how the candidates in their specific region not necessarily adopt the policies, because it's not about the DSA, it's about how do we connect with people on an organic level to talk about the needs that they have in their community. That's how it can be.
And I just want to share, as we're wrapping this up, that my former colleague did get elected to DNC vice chair. So we could start a crowdsourced document for people who want to put forward their well thought out desire for change from the DNC, and any thoughts and suggestions, because maybe there's a chance for change with some of the new leadership in there.
Agreed. Can we go to Barbara though?
I'm super. So I am confused about what's happening in Iran, and I don't know if any of you have been, following it, the insanity of it. But what? So the last thing I heard, and I'm just doing a fact check right now, last night was that the bunkers, or whatever we call them, were hardly damaged. Does anybody have any line of sight on this? And the fact that Iran is declaring they're just going to rebuild it is only going to take a few months. So, question for you.
Yeah. What I know, and I haven't looked at it in the last couple of hours, so there might be more information. But basically, the assessment is that there was damage, at all three sites, but not enough to prevent them from recreating it. So, and apparently the nuclear matter, the atomic matter that they are most concerned about, was moved out of its location. So they think that they have the majority of that. And that's the problem, because they might not be able to make a nuclear bomb that they can send a missile, but they can make like dirty bombs out of that, and they can make smaller weapons that are radioactive. So, but the bottom line is, it did damage, but not enough damage to prove it. It held them back anywhere from about 3 to 6 months longer than it was last time. And the thing is that, Trump is saying that everything's been completely demolished, which is absurd, because they have no way to know. I mean, that's one of the things, is that pretty much most of the things that I've heard, the different, was that they would not be able to tell the actual damage unless there were boots on the ground and they actually saw the damage, because it's down so far that there's not and there's so much debris that they can't. It's not like an X-ray machine that they can go down and see exactly what's in there. They know that there's damage, but as far as they know, they might have moved everything out of the way. They don't know. So if anybody says they know for sure, they're lying. And the what do you call it? The head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said that. He said that we think the damage was done, but we will not know for a while because of the difficulties. So the thing is that everybody is saying that they won. Trump won, and Iran won, and Israel won. Nothing's really. Well, the thing is, the thing that changed is they've been threatening to do this for how many years, and they actually did do it. So that is a fact that it changes the situation. But does that mean that Iran's going to have a bomb any sooner or any later than it would have otherwise? Probably not. I mean, the situation is pretty much the same. And Trump is just going, he's just shooting his mouth off, like an idiot. I don't know. Does anybody else heard anything other than that?
No, but I feel like at least the Iranians know that Trump is crazy.
Yeah.
And he would bomb.
Yeah.
And that would hold them back.
Exactly. I think that is something that changed to the benefit of I don't know of who. Look, it's the whole thing shouldn't have been done. This should have been done through diplomacy. This should have been done with the original Iran nuclear deal that Obama did. I mean, we wouldn't be in this situation if he wouldn't have ripped it up. But it is what it is now, and as long as he doesn't do anything more, I think we're in really not that much of a different situation than we were 2 weeks ago. Other than he knows that Trump's crazy and he might do something, which again, I mean, gives an advantage to Trump for right now.
The other thing that we don't know now is who's really running Iran, because I had heard somewhere that the supreme leader left before the whole thing began.
Well, he went undercover. He sort of disappeared, but he's around somewhere. I'm pretty sure he's still pulling the strings, because we would hear otherwise.
Oh yeah, because you're in the diplomatic community.
I don't know. They don't exactly call us up on the red phone and say, "Hey, you guys need to know this." But yeah.
Wait, Brazil has a red phone?
Oh yeah. Ellen carries it around wherever she goes. That's her little red phone.
I thought that would be the nuclear soccer ball.
That's true. It's not. It's an American football. It's not a soccer ball. At least I saw that in the movies. Anyway, you know what? We've been watching. I had never seen Designated Survivor. I don't know if anybody else has seen it on the stage. It was this show. I think it was around 2019 with Kiefer Sutherland as the unexpected president, because they bombed the Congress during the State of the Union address. So I think you know this thing, and it ran for like 3 seasons, and I had never seen it. And I have to say, if you haven't seen it, you should watch it, because there are so many things in that first season that is totally relevant to what's going on now. Where if you would have seen it, originally, you would have said, "Oh shit, none of this could possibly happen."
You're seeking
and now you're looking at it, you're going, "Oh, holy shit, all of this stuff is happening." It's like crazy. I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it. I think it's on Netflix if you want to see it. Anyway, anybody else have some thoughts about either Iran or even the New York election? Susie?
Susie. Susie Q.
Okay, Susie Q. Okay, go for it.
Okay, and thank you for accommodating to my native Danish pronunciation of it.
Fucking Danish chicken.
Denmark is such a small country. We are very easygoing with our names, how they're pronounced, so no problem. Yes, I actually have a comment because I saw an article in Financial Times, and I think this is a direct result of Trump's actions in Iran as the sort of cherry on the cake. So he has actually sent so I'm just going to read out here from Financial Times. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has praised Donald Trump for making Europe pay in a big way in increased defense spending in a private message that the US president shared on his social media platform.
Yep.
So the keys here are the NATO Secretary sends a private message where he praised Donald Trump for making Europe pay in a big way with the big in capital letters. Donald, you have driven us through a really, really important moment for America and Europe and the world. Rutte wrote ahead of the NATO summit that begins on Tuesday, so this is a couple of days ago, referring to the US president's demand that all allies come to raise defense spending to 5%. You will achieve something no capital letters American president in decades could get done, he added, and so forth. It was not easy, but we got them all signed into 5%, Rutte wrote. Europe is going to pay in a big way, as they should, and it will be your win.
Wow.
End of quote.
Wow.
So, I don't know about you guys, but maybe somebody's taking lessons from Putin or North Korea or something, that the way to get your way is to send private messages that you can then post in public and tell that you're the greatest, the best, the biggest ever.
You hit the nail on the head, Susie. It is so disturbing and bizarre how people are playing into his game. I mean, it's such a childish game. We have to praise him and we have to say nice things about him.
Yes.
And they're all buying into it. And it's like,
well, I think we could sort of debate what buying into it means. Maybe it could be, I will play it your way as long as I get it my way. It could also be a different way of sort of interpreting it.
The fact of the matter is, he's a sick man. He's mentally ill, and this actually does work for him. I mean, anybody who has any self-respect would understand that somebody who is overly praising him wants something in exchange. But he's not built that way. He doesn't understand. He has no capacity to understand that. He will absorb whatever praise you give him. He is insatiable, and it's idiotic. And the fact of the matter is,
It's narcissistic.
He's a very mentally ill man. He can be manipulated by praising him. So to a normal person, it sounds like you're overpraising him and you sound silly. But the fact of the matter is that when you do that, he will change his behavior. And the opposite is also true. If you say anything nearly against him, he'll just lash out 100% at you. So he's like an exposed nerve ending, and there's nothing above the brainstem here. There is no strategy.
Oh, Ben.
You kiss his ass, and he will react to kissing his ass. That's it.
Then I'm just foreseeing some trouble for Ukraine because they actually put him up, recommended him for a Nobel
No, I know.
Prize.
I know.
And they pulled
That's
it
what he
back.
wants.
They pulled it back.
Did they pull it back?
They just pulled it back.
Oh, okay, so you mean some people nominated him and then they took the nominations off?
Yeah, the people from Ukraine that nominated him have recalled the nomination, saying that well, there's no peace.
Well, the problem is that some of his buddies at some point or another, just for this same reason, to kiss his ass, to make him do something, will say that. And if enough of them do it, it may happen, which would be horrible. It would be a really terrible thing. I don't know. I just wanted a quick mention. I don't want to give him that much room, but I did pin the asshole's name up on the top. So this is the guy, John Kitover, and I know our friend Max has said that we are being streamed right now, and he streams other stuff too. He streams Patty's Room, and he streams Lisa's Room and Jeff S, if you know Jeff's room. And what we're gonna start organizing to get him kicked off social media. So if you go to his YouTube site, all of us, I'm gonna see if I can get Lisa. We're all doing it. We're all taking our houses, and we're asking everybody to complain, both at YouTube, Instagram, and here. He goes by Adrian Dittman is his fake name, but he has other fake names as well. But we'll get him. We'll dox him. We'll get him, and we'll get him kicked out. He is a horrible person, though. You should know that he's completely fake. He's not a congressman. He's a loser. He's one of these guys who sits in his basement, who's an incel. He has nothing better to do. He's a really horrible, awful, maggot person, and he can go suck air, whatever. So anyway, let's forget about it and move on. Okay. I know he's not a congressman, and he's not anything, and he claims to be a veteran. He's not a veteran. He has pictures of himself in military outfits, which aren't even real military outfits. They're fake. He's a total fake. He's a total loser.
Wow.
Okay. I don't even want to talk about it. He's a scumbag. All right, so let's get back into this. Who haven't we heard from? We haven't heard from Steve or Denise. Steve, did you have anything either about what's going on or any? Oh, there's been tons of legal stuff going on, or anything you want to talk about?
I still haven't had time to catch up with the raft of Supreme Court cases, frankly. I watched Trump's. I'm sorry, I just came into the room, so forgive me if this has all been talked about.
Yeah, that's okay.
Trump's press conference just now, have we already talked about this bizarreness of this? God, it was just insane.
No, we have not.
Yeah, so he just did his press conference, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes ago at the NATO meeting. And I mean, man, it was just insane. He headed off a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. They were on the verge of nuclear annihilation before he came in and stepped in. So you'll be relieved to know that if he doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize for Ukraine, Russia, he certainly deserves it for India, Pakistan, because the nukes were about to fly until he stepped in, thank God. The stuff about the bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran, I think it's fairly apparent now. I'm sure more information will come out, but it seems fairly apparent what's going on. But he just won't back down. Everything's been obliterated. Then Hegseth stepped up and said, anybody who questions any of it is just disrespecting the troops. And he went on and on about the brave pilots and the refillers and the 36 hours. And, if you're questioning anything that the Trump regime says, then, you're a traitor. It's just the level to which it really has, in my view, become Orwellian. I remember that very famous, oh God, I blanked on her name. Oh God. Alternate Facts. Who's Miss Alternate Facts?
Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway. The evolution from fake news, they're just lying, don't believe them, to, just a completely alternative reality that they will not back down from is incredible. I mean, total obliteration. I mean, it seems fairly obvious what happened. They bombed these sites, and the main underground site, I think what the reporting is saying is, yeah, there was a lot of destruction at the surface and maybe at some level below the surface, but the actual subterranean facility was not seriously damaged. And whatever nuclear material was at, I think primarily the Isfahan site, had been evacuated. But they just won't back